Hi, some thoughts for today, the last Sunday after Trinity. Viktor Frankl wrote this: "We who lived in concentration camps can remember those who walked through the huts comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human feelings, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Someone once wrote, "The attitude is the mind's paintbrush. It can colour any situation." There is a story of one area suffering from a severe drought. Farmers are growing more and more anxious about the loss of crops and the erosion of the topsoil. In one country parish, a special prayer vigil was organised. The church was crowded from the beginning of the service, and one after another the people prayed for rain. Hour by hour the prayers echoed around the tiny church until the dawn light began to show. It was just then that they heard a very faintest patter on the roof. Gradually it grew heavier and heavier. The whole church knelt and thanked God in their final prayers before leaving for home. By that time, though, the rain had become so heavy that they had to stand in the porch and wait for the storm to pass. All but one little girl. She'd brought her umbrella with her the night before. Apparently optimism is walking on the cloud that others grumble under. Switch on the news, check our phone, open the paper, listen to our radio, and we know that there's a lot out there that challenges our attitudes. The awful murder of MP Sir David Amess, the effects of climate change, the long shadow of COVID-19, Cuba and China cooperating with an energy pact, migrants crossing the Channel, High Street under threat, energy chaos with its rising costs, Afghanistan in tatters, and an overrun NHS facing league tables. The list goes on. So many things calling for an opinion and attitude. Exhausting. Today we join a blind beggar called Bartimaeus. He is sitting by the side of the road that leads from Jericho to Jerusalem. It is a road busy with pilgrims and traders, and so he hopes that the travellers will throw a few coppers into his begging bowl. He is covered in a cloak and the dust of this busy road. With the coppers he receives, he survives, and has probably gone to so many who have promised healing for his eyes. Time and time again he's been disappointed and still sits in darkness. Some would have told him that his blindness was God's punishment for past sins. Then he hears of this miracle worker called Jesus from Galilee, who has a reputation for healing even those who are blind. Would he be any different, or would he be the same as all the rest? Then he hears that Jesus is in Jericho. In fact, he is on the way. Jesus is going to pass by. But that is one thing that Bartimaeus does not want, is for Jesus just to pass by. As he edges closer to the road, he must have heard a voice within him whisper, "What's the point? Why should he help you?" However, he calls out to Jesus. As soon as he does, he hears the world around him telling him to shut up. Jesus is holding a walking seminar. He's busy, so don't interrupt. He calls again. Jesus asks those who are telling Bartimaeus to shut up to bring the blind man to him. Wonderfully, Bartimaeus is healed and follows Jesus on the road to Jerusalem. Bartimaeus' attitude restored his sight. Despite his own experience of disappointment and despite the shouts of the crowd, he persisted and received a life-changing moment from Jesus. The attitude of the crowd was to shut him up, and if they had their way, they would have kept him both mute and blind for the rest of his life. Then we experience the attitude of Jesus, who hears his cry of faith and responds in love and tenderness. So many, like Bartimaeus, cry out. Do we tell them to be quiet, or do we say, "What can I do for you?" Then we open our hearts to bring comfort and healing. It all depends on our attitude. Travel safe, pilgrim.